Hi, I'm Dave with Little Giant Ladder Systems. I'd like to take just a few moments to show you the safest and easiest way for you to set up and use your Little Giant skyscraper ladder. Now, there's two different ways of setting up your ladder and taking your ladder down that we want to show you on this training video. And we want to make sure that you watch both ways, because sometimes the space that you have to work in is going to be a little bit confining. Say you're in the entryway of your home, working in a church or in a stairwell, you're going to want to watch the second way that we set the ladder up. So watch this all the way through. We're going to go ahead now and show you the first way we have of setting up the product. First thing you do is bring it into the area where you're going to be using it. Lay it down flat on the ground. Doug's going to be assisting me with this. It is a two-man job. First thing you do, unlock your lock tabs on the side on both halves. Doug's going to hold the outer sections for me, and I'm going to grab the inner section of the ladder, and I'm going to telescope it out to the desired height. We're going to be going all the way out to the 17-foot height. As soon as you get those rungs close to lined up, come back. Go ahead and line up those rungs. Lock all four of the lock tabs in. And then we're going to make sure that we move the ladder back and forth until all four of the lock tabs are securely in place. Now, Doug's going to hold the bottom of my ladder, and I'm going to walk the ladder up from this end. Now, because it's so long, there's a little balance issue. If I don't have that end of the ladder up against a wall or have somebody helping me by holding that end down, as I try to lift it up, the bottom of the ladder will flip up. So if you don't have somebody to help you, make sure that it's up against a wall to support that end of the ladder. Now pick the ladder up and just rung by rung, start walking that up. You get it all the way to the top. Now I'm going to pull my side out. We're going to open that up until we hear the hinge at the top lock into place. Now we've got our ladder set up. We can move it together wherever we need to get to the job. Now we're going to talk a little bit about what happens if I need to set this up and use it in a staircase or on a landing, or if you're in a church or a theater, what happens if I need to go up onto the stage. So we're going to want to do that exact same thing. We're just going to want to leave one half of the ladder 2 or 3 feet shorter than the other. So we'll telescope the inner out. We'll adjust one of the outers to be shorter than the other. We'll walk it up exactly like we did with the full setup. And then when we get it stood up and opened, one side will be shorter. We'll put that shorter side onto the staircase or onto the landing or stage area. Now, to take the ladder down, we're going to reverse the process a little bit, but we can't unlock the hinges or the lock tabs from the ground. It's too high up there. So we're going to need to tip this ladder back down in its open A-frame position. Let's go ahead and move the ladder around so that we can get that. Okay. Doug is going to support the bottom half of my ladder. Now again, if I were doing this by myself and I could move the ladder up against the wall to support the bottom half of the ladder, I'd do that. But if I have somebody to help me, 1 or 2 guys, they're going to hold the bottom of the ladder to keep it from kicking out. And then we're going to tip this back over and lay it back down. Doug, if you'll grab that end of the ladder, I'll go ahead and start tipping that and just support that. And we'll drop this down. Nice and easy. Okay. Now that our ladder is back on the ground, we're going to want to adjust it so that we can release the pressure on these hinges. Unlock those hinges. Go ahead and close the bottom of that ladder up. We'll lay it back down. And we'll reverse the process by unlocking the lock tabs. Doug's going to hold the bottom of the ladder. Pull your straps out of the way so they don't get tangled up, and telescope the ladder back into its storage position. Lock your lock tabs back into place. Now we're good to put that back into storage. Now we're going to take a minute and show you another way of setting up your skyscraper. We understand that sometimes you're going to be, say, in the foyer of a home or a hotel where you're not going to have the room to stretch the ladder all the way out on the floor and stand it up. So you need to be able to set it up in a smaller area. This is going to be a little more time-consuming, but it's going to help in those hard-to-get-to situations. Now we're just going to go ahead and stand the ladder up in its closed position. We'll go ahead and move it to wherever we are going to use it, and then open it up in a small A-frame position. Now again, we never want to unlock the hinges or the lock tabs on the ladder while we're on the ladder. So the only way to do this is from another ladder. So if you'll go ahead and bring in whatever A-frame, preferably your little giant multi-purpose ladder, but any A-frame ladder will do, so that you can get up to work on the ladder. Go ahead and pull your lock tabs on one side, and then tip your ladder a couple of rungs. Climb down from your ladder and repeat the process on the other side. Now you're going to do this back and forth until you get to the desired height. Trying to get your ladder set in a staircase position, you would go ahead and just make sure that one side of your ladder is the 2 or 3 feet shorter, so that you can set it up on the staircase or the stage. This way you can do the entire setup in the footprint of the ladder, and you won't need to tip that ladder up. Now I understand that this is a little more time consuming, but there are those situations where this is your only alternative to getting the ladder all the way up and all the way back down. So you'll go back and forth about 5 times, and you should be able to get your ladder safely to its fully extended position. I'm going to go ahead and tip this back the other direction and lock those lock tabs back into place. Now, in this setup right here, our ladder, again, is 2 feet shorter on one side than the other. So with Doug's help, we're going to go ahead and pick this ladder up, set it up on this stage. Now we've got a very safe, very easy setup for an uneven surface. So that's the beauty of the skyscraper ladder. You can get to those hard-to-get-to places in your home, your church, your theater, your gymnasium, in your school, or your office building that you couldn't get to with a traditional ladder. Now to get this ladder down, we just reverse the process. We'll go ahead and take this off the stage. And then a couple of rungs at a time, we're going to release this ladder until we get it all the way back down to the storage position. But a couple of rungs at a time, back and forth. We should be able to get this ladder back down in a safe and quick manner. Again, just a couple of rungs at a time. Telescope the ladder back down. Now, once you've got it all the way in its smallest position, then you can go ahead and disengage the hinges at the top. Move your A-frame ladder or your little giant ladder out of the way. We can go ahead and close this, bring it back down, and we're ready to go back into storage. Now, we've shown you a couple of different ways of setting up and taking down your little giant skyscraper ladder, and we hope these have been helpful. But before we end, we want to talk a little bit about some safety guidelines that are pretty standard to all climbing products. When you're climbing your ladder, you want to make sure that you keep your belt buckle between the side rails of the ladder. That just means don't stand out here on the end and try and reach to get that last little thing. You're going to need to get down, move your ladder, make sure you're always being safe. Now, the highest standing rung on any A-frame ladder is the third rung from the top. Now, that's going to put your waist at about the top of the ladder. An average person is going to have their upper body and their reach. It's going to give them about 4 feet over the top of the ladder. So a 15-foot ladder, you'd probably be able to reach safely a 19-foot ceiling or object, and so on and so on. Always make sure that your ladder's clean, your rungs are dry. Make sure that your floor is clean and dry. Make sure that your rungs are clean and dry. Make sure that your ladder's in good working order. Never overreach, and preferably have somebody there helping you set the ladder up and taking it down. If you ever have any problems or any concerns, please call us at our 800 number. We'll be glad to walk you through it.